only because it's the only one doing it here in Australia. I think that's probably why I'm the best, but I take that with a grain of salt.
Absolutely, so make sure you check it out online and subscribe, and we'll leave you with that.
All right, mate, cheers. All right, guys, thanks very much for that. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to everyone, and really I've been going to a lot of the SHOT shows for a few years now.
Visitors interested in the field to fork demonstration. This has been held in
we'll just let him finish. Okay, so just to touch briefly, look, I'm very happy to see how the SHOT shows are going and expanding. It's really becoming quite a professional outfit here in Australia, which is very good to see. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to start and do YouTube reviews, basically, because we're starting to get more and more shooters, and the younger generation coming through too. I mean, they're very computer literate, so they love to get online and have a look at products, and it's just the technology today. So basically what I'm going to talk about is obviously what to look for when buying a rifle. It's probably my most or highest question asked on my channel. People always email me and ask me, like, what do you think I should get? You know, and it's always such an open-ended question, because what should I get? Well, there's so many things to look for. Okay, one of the first things I ask is, are you hunting with the firearm? You know, or are you doing target, or a combination of both? Because, you know, that has a lot of relevant factors to it, which will make you ultimately look at various different rifles, brands, and different configurations to get the one that suits you. Okay, so we've got a couple action types here, for example. Okay, so down the bottom we can see here we've got the just the standard bolt action, which is probably the most common action here in Australia. And then up the top on the right we've got lever action, and also the pump action. We've got a Remington 7615 there, which is very, very popular with different hunters here in Australia. Now the reason for it, obviously, that is we have a lot of restrictions here in Australia with semi-automatics, as most people know. So a lot of people try to replicate, or at least get rifles or firearms that they can do those fast follow-up shots with. So that's why you'd be looking at something like a pump action rifle there. It allows you to keep it up to the shoulder and cycle those rounds off accurately and fairly quickly. Same with the lever action there. If you ever see on YouTube a lot of the cowboy shooters, I mean, there's some guys out there that can rattle off those rounds just as quick as a semi-auto. So very effective, like if you're hunting for pigs or something like that, then you've got decent round capacity, also very light to carry in the field, which is very, very important. Then down the bottom, I'd say Accuracy International, looks like the new one there. Could be wrong, but it looks like the new AX, Accuracy International, yeah. That sort of thing. Obviously you wouldn't be hunting with that in the sense of you wouldn't be walking around and trekking, you know, heaps of miles or kilometres with it, because it's just too heavy. However, if you were set up and, I mean, you were a fair distance, or, you know, from a dam or something, and you knew each day pigs or something like that were coming down, well, you could set up with something like that and obviously, you know, do some pig hunting, but definitely not something you're going to be walking around with all the time. Okay, so we've got a couple of entertaining drawings here, or we've got magazine capacity. Obviously we'll start with the big one because everyone's looking at that. You've seen a lot of them. You've seen the film Heat that came out in the 90s. Those sort of drum magazines, you know. You do see them still here in Australia, but usually it's with occupational shooters who are doing shooting from helicopters. And the reason for that is they don't want to be doing mag changes and so forth. So you will actually see some of them around. Very limited numbers, but you will see them. You've got your box magazine up the top there, so like 10-shot magazine that fits into most of like the Remington 7615s, and a lot of the other hunting rifles will actually have them in that capacity. Now that's great if you're out, you're going after pigs or you're going after wild dogs or something like that, where you need those fast follow-up shots and you need that capacity to do that. There's no use going out after a mob of pigs of, you know, 8 to 10 pigs if you've got a 4-round capacity magazine, unless you're happy with just getting, you know, 2 or 3 of the actual game. Down the bottom here we've obviously got an extended magazine there. It looks like a standard AR type magazine. Once again, you'll see that in limited numbers. However, the different states have their different legislation. For example, South Australia, where the guys are from, Southern Shooters, you can still have a 30-shot magazine in a Remington 7615. It's very, very popular for people who are actually out looking for pig hunting and want that extra capacity. Then other states are more restrictive. So you just got to check on your state regulations. Okay, so the barrel type. What I was talking about there is very, very important. Okay, not only from a weight perspective, but also if you're actually shooting a lot of rounds, if you've got a thinner or a lightweight profile barrel, it's going to heat up a lot quicker. Okay, so if you're going out there and you're really hammering in the pigs or you're hunting, or you're in a match or a competition where you're going to be firing a lot of rounds down range, have a look at a heavier barrel, because that's going to take a lot longer to heat up, okay? So, and as most of you may or may not know, if you start really heating up a barrel, okay, you can wear that barrel if you let it get too hot, okay? So you've got to be careful of that. So down the bottom here we've got a standard sort of target type barrel, which you'll see very popular at the ranges and so forth. And then up the top there you can see more of a hunting streamline barrel. Okay, a lot of the bolt actions there, you'll see them ideal for people who are going after deer. And why? Because it's lightweight, you can walk around for ages with it and do stalking, and then you're only going to fire really that one shot, because with deer you've only got one chance of getting them, because if you miss them, they're out of there. So perfect for that sort of thing, because it's lightweight and easy to walk around with, and you've got a couple of rounds to fulfill that purpose of getting the deer. Okay, cheap or expensive? This is probably one of the big questions I get too, is people talk about, oh, you know, like I see you might review, you know, a high-end Anschutz rifle. Like, why should I get that when I can go and get a, you know, a cheap Norinco for a couple of $100s? Well, you know, to me it's pretty self-explanatory, but to a lot of people, understandably, people are on budgets, and I can understand that. So what you've got to look at is, one, your purpose. What are you looking for? Have a look at what the actual rifle, the firearm is machined from. Have a look at the parts. Jump online and have a look at reviews, because there's a lot of people just like you and I out there who aren't affiliated with any companies, who are just reviewing products or checking out different products, and they end up posting it up there on YouTube. So if you've got an opportunity to do that, have a look at it. Have a look at the feedback on forums and things, if people have had any issues and that. So do your homework, and we've got that technology to do that nowadays. So definitely have a look, do your homework with it. As for expensive rifles, look, the old saying is you get what you pay for. Look, that's very true. There's some high-end rifles that I've had in my time of shooting, and I've been shooting since I was 6 years of age, that I've had for so many years, because they're just good quality products and they last a long time. But in saying that, you don't have to spend $3,000 to get a good, reliable setup. There's plenty of rifles out there. You've got the new Lithgow rifle, Rugers for example, they're all around the $1,000 mark, and you can get good quality made rifles for that price. So definitely do your homework, but at the end of the day, guys, it's what feels comfortable in your hands. Someone might say to me, I don't like the way an Anschutz feels, for example, I prefer how my Ruger feels. But you know what? It's not me shooting your rifle, it's you shooting your rifle. So what feels better in your hands, go for, okay? Alright, so we've touched on the, that's me with a Remington 7615. I recently did a review on it. And you know, at the end of the day, as I say, it's what suits you. So make sure that what you're looking for is applicable to your application. You've got the correct magazine capacity. Before, where the guys were talking about your ammunition, okay, make sure you go for a sensible caliber. There's no use going out there with a 22 or a 17 HMR and trying to take on a mob of feral pigs, because you'll come off second best. Okay, and then vice versa, you're not going to go out there with a 300 Win Mag and go shooting rabbits, you know, even though that could possibly be fun to see the explosion, but you know, at the end of the day, you've got to be sensible with your choice. Guys, I guess we got time for a few questions. If anyone's got any questions. No one questions? I'm open to any questions. No? Yeah? I'll come down to you, mate, so we can hear it.
So, rifle fit, you hear about length of pull.
Yep.
You see rifles with a dropping stock and straight stock. When you're selecting a rifle, how do you measure what's... I know what you're saying,
yep.
What feels good.
Yeah.
But if you've got an idea of what's the optimum
length of pull you're talking about?
With,
yep.
Then you can start it.
Okay. Look, I can answer that. Especially like if you've got you know, family members who are going to shoot the rifle, it's very important to look for a rifle, like for example with spacers in the stock. Okay, what I mean by spacers is they actually sit just behind the butt pad where it joins the stock, and you can actually put 2 or 3 in there to lengthen the length of pull for like yourself. And then say you've got a young fella who's got a shorter length of pull, well, you can take one of those spacers out. If it's like a Remington 7615, for example, you'll see a lot of people put collapsible, adjustable stocks on them. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Yep. So if you had something like that, well, you can adjust the stock naturally there. But with your bolt actions, just look for something that can allow spaces. I know Ruger do it now with their new American rifle. They have that. The guys from Lithgow, I just had a look at that. They've got the spaces in their rimfire rifle. So you've got a few options there.
Yeah, but you know, you talk about length of pull being that length.
Yep.
Right. Now, some people say they believe in that. Others say, well, no, it's not really right. It's how it feels. So, is that a valid point to use? Plus, I find that the distance from the pistol grip to the trigger.
Yep.
That's not adjustable.
No.
So how are you supposed to? What are you looking for the ideal there? Is there an ideal?
Yeah. Once again, that's where you've got to pick it up and see how it feels for you. Like you say, especially with that pistol grip to the trigger, okay, on a lot of rifles you can't change that. I think the only one that I've seen that you can change it on is the high-end Anschutz. They're 308, they're 1780. I did a review on that, and you can actually move the trigger back and forward to handle your length of pull and where it's comfortable for you. So once again, but you're looking at a high price tag. I think they're about 2,800 retail, somewhere around there. So a little expensive. So once again, you've got to get into your local gun shop, and a lot of the distributors around here will actually send a demo in for you to have a look. You know, a lot of them will do that, which a lot of people don't realise. So.
What about stock drop? Like my son's got a 17 HMR.
Yep.
As soon as we picked it up with a scope on it, it'll be straight down the scope.
Yep.
I've got a 22 mag.
Yep.
Obviously designed for open sights.
Yep.
Put a scope on it, all of a sudden it's excellent for open sights.
Yep.
Scope on it, it's above it.
Yep.
So where is how do you select what it's?
Okay. What you usually look for with that is you'll find a lot of rifles will have like a cheek piece there. If they've got that cheek piece built into it, usually they're looking at optics. I got caught with a Remington 571, which is a pump action 22. Now it comes with the cheek piece in it. You know, it's for an optic. So I wanted to use the open sight, so I actually had to get the straight stock for me to actually do that. So you actually have to look at that. So have a look at the manufacturer's website, and a lot of the times they'll have options. Okay, and you can actually replace the butt stocks on them depending on the manufacturer naturally. So yeah, that's something definitely to look for, because I've been caught out with that myself.
Yeah. One over here for you, Aussie, as well.
Sure.
Hey. Just wondering about magazines. In New South Wales, we have 10 round bags.
Yep.
If you travel interstate, you're allowed to use the bigger capacity magazines.
Yep, good question. With well, I'm from Queensland, as most people know, so that's in Queensland there's legislation brought in recently about 10 round capacity, okay, for like your pump actions and your lever actions with detachable magazines. However, your bolt actions up there are 15 rounds. So this is the problem that a lot of us face, is if we go in a state like on a hunting trip or something like that, that's where it's advisable to get onto the state firearms registry in that area and have a look and just check just to cover yourself. Because I know, for example, if the guys from South Australia decided to come into New South Wales or up to Queensland with a 30-shot magazine and 7615, there would be a lot of problems. So, you know, so it's a problem, and it's a good valid point, because a lot of guys, even though it's legal in your state, they catch themselves out, and they're really at the end of the day just trying to do the right thing. So yeah, good point.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.